Well, if you've been following along, you know I have the hubs completed for this 8-passenger Yellowstone Park Stagecoach. I still have to assemble the spokes. What I actually need to do next is bend the outside rims, sometimes called felloes, sometimes called fellies, depending on what you learned. And I have some 8-quarter ash here, which is 2 inches thick. But I need the depth of these fellows to be 2 1/4 inches thick. So I'm actually going to rip these at 2 1/4 this direction wide. And I'll use my 2-inch thickness. And I'm going to try to bend these on edge so that I will have my 2 1/4 inch depth. So instead of taking normally a piece of wood and bending it flat grain, I'm actually going to take it and bend it edge grain. Otherwise, I'd have to take a 10-quarter or 12-quarter, 2 1/2 or 3 inch and plane it down, and that's a waste of material. So I think I can do it this direction. I have my steamer fired up and it's just starting to show some signs of building steam. So I need to get these ripped out. So my rear wheels want to be 54 inches OD with the tires. I'm going to put a 1/2 inch iron on them, so that's going to take away 1 inch, so my wood is going to be 53 inches on the diameter. I'm going to take that times pi, so 53 times pi, 166.4, I'm going to divide that by 2, gives me 83 1/4, but I want to add 6 inches on either side, so I'm going to add another foot. So 95, so I'm actually going to make this at a 96-inch length. And then my front wheels are going to be 42 inches OD with a 1/2 inch tire. So I'm going to come down on my fellies. I want to have 41 inches OD. So 41 times pi divided by 2 gives me 64 strong, and I want to add 12 inches. So I want to be at least 76 inch OD on the front fellies. So if I want 53 OD, I need the form to be ID. So I'm going to come back 4 1/2 inches, which would give me 48 1/2, which I don't have a 48 1/2, but I do have a 48. So I'm going to use a 48 inch form for this one. The 41, if I take off 4 1/2, it's going to give me a 36 1/2. I don't have a 36 1/2, but I can use a 36. So these are going to be my 2 form sizes. They'll be just a hair under, but they always spring out just a little bit anyway. So how many of you noticed I almost had a total disaster on that first set of hind wheel fellies when I bent those? I was just about to the end of the bend, and if you watch really closely to this joint here on my cable, you can see it slip. I had not checked these cable clamps for quite some time, probably since I installed these, and they had loosened up, and this joint was about to come undone, and I'd have lost the whole bend. I came that close. So this pair of fellies is what I bent first. They were on the form for about 30 hours before I took them off. This is the second pair, and they were on the form about 20 hours before I took them off. And spring back was about the same. So this board here is part of the planks that I cut these fellies out of. And I have a moisture meter here that I'd like to show you just what I have in moisture in this board initially. Now this lumber I have had here probably 5 or 6 years. It was kiln dried, and then it has sat here for this long to adjust to this climate. So as I test it, it will initially show about 10%, but then, I don't know if you can see this or not, it just drops off the chart. See, there's my finger, and there's the board. So again, these are the first fellies that I bent, and if we look at these, my finger, it's showing 15%. I put it on my board, I'm about 10%. I go down to this other one that I bent, it's showing at about 15%, the same as what my finger does. Then these are the second pair that I bent that I just took off about 20 hours ago. There's my finger. It's not showing a lot of moisture to it. Try the front fellies. They're showing about 10%. There's about 12% on the front ones. Again, there's my finger at 15. About 12%. These rear ones aren't even showing, which seems really odd. There's my finger. There's the board. It bumps to just about 5% there. So this kind of shows some of the advantages and disadvantages of bending kiln-dried lumber. You don't start out with very much moisture in the wood. That's why I bend with pressure. I have to force that moisture back into the wood. But once it's in there and soft enough to do my bending, the plus side of bending kiln-dried is it comes out very quickly as well. I have in that range of 10 to 12%, and probably in this one as well. This one showed about 12%. Why this one isn't reading, I don't really know. Yeah, it's about 5 to 6% on this one. But it makes these fellies usable much quicker than if I were to have bent them when they were naturally green. Easier to bend, but it takes much longer for that moisture to come out. Where this, it comes out very quickly. So this is going to give me my fellies, rims, fellows, whatever vernacular you use for these Stagecoach wheels. I'll let them continue to dry while I fit the spokes into the hub. Appreciate you coming along. Thanks for watching.